I'm hiking down to Mitchell Hill Lake here at Jefferson Memorial Forest. After I hike this, then I'm going to drive to the Yost Recreational Area parking lot and then hike the Holsclaw Hill Loop via the Coral Ridge Loop. It's a beautiful morning. I made it down to Mitchell Hill Lake. Very quiet this morning, very peaceful. The jack-o'-lantern mushrooms on this video are from my walk with my wife at Iroquois Park yesterday. My wife found those. Found some jack-o'-lantern mushrooms around these two trees. This is the time of year for them.
One down here looks prettier. Yeah. Sunshine.
This is from the road. Go all the way up. I always check out this little pond next to Mitchell Hill Lake on my hikes in the morning. I see the whirligig beetles are still pretty active. I threw a little rock in the water. I'll check out this little pond back here. Usually there's a lot of frogs jumping in the water. There's a couple there. But there's usually a lot more than that. Just heard a deer snort up there somewhere. Oh, now I see it running off. I'm gonna hike up this hill to see if I can find it. But the deer at Jefferson Memorial, they don't stick around long. They snort right before they run off. I don't see it up there anywhere. I just saw a white tail up there. It's all the way up to the top, and I don't think I want to climb that hill because I've got a lot of hiking to do on the Holsclaw Hill Loop. Maybe that's what it's after, some kind of sap leaking from this tree. There's a lot of small insects. See some fish swimming around in Mitchell Hill Lake. Some small bluegill. This is where those little birds are. This is a swampy area of Mitchell Hill Lake. I'm on my way up from Mitchell Hill Lake and I see some mushrooms at the side of the trail. Mushrooms are all over the place this time of year. I haven't hiked the Holsclaw Hill Loop for quite a while. I'm looking forward to that hike. Some more mushrooms growing on this decaying log. I'm coming from the Huron Reservation parking lot. Now I'm at the Yost Recreational Area parking lot. Getting ready to hike the Holsclaw Hill Loop. Here's the first trail marker to the Coral Ridge Loop P1. You have to hike part of the Coral Ridge Loop to get to the Holsclaw Hill Loop. And there's a 1 mile connector trail between the Coral Ridge Loop and the Holsclaw Hill Loop. It's a fantastic morning for a hike. These are the old mushrooms on this log, and these are the new mushrooms. There were no cars parked at the Yost Recreational Area parking lot, so I probably have these trails all to myself. There's a squirrel making weird noises up in that tree. Sounds like a duck. Saw him a while ago, or her. Oh, there it is up there in that tree. I've never heard squirrels making those kind of noises. I'm at trail marker P2. I need to take the Coral Ridge Loop to the 1 mile connector trail that leads to the Holsclaw Hill Loop. The Holsclaw Hill Loop is 2.4 miles. The Coral Ridge Loop is 2.5 miles. I'm not going to hike the entire Coral Ridge Loop. Hiking the Holsclaw Hill Loop, the route I'm taking, round trip distance from the Yost Recreational Area parking lot is about 6.6 miles. If I hike the entire Coral Ridge Loop, it'd be about 8 miles. These trails, the Coral Ridge Loop and the Holsclaw Hill Loop, they're great trails. I don't know why more people don't hike them. More mushrooms at the side of the trail. These are pretty neat looking. These mushrooms are right on the trail. And these are right beside the trail. They're all over the place. These mushrooms growing on this stump are pretty neat. I'll hike a lot of the Coral Ridge Loop getting to the Holsclaw Hill Loop. Mushrooms right in the middle of the trail. You can tell not too many people hike it because if they did, they'd have been stepped on. Passing trail marker P3, still on the Coral Ridge Loop. I'm at trail marker P5. The Coral Ridge Loop goes that way. I'm gonna hike the Holsclaw Hill Loop. And I'm starting the 1 mile connector trail. You hike the 1 mile connector trail to and from, and the Coral Ridge Loop, which is 2.4 miles. That ends up being 4.4 miles. This can be a muddy trail at times. The more rain you get, the better I like this trail. I don't worry about the mud, because when you get a lot of rain, all the little streams fill up. We really hadn't had that much rain. Got a little water running through the streams. I hiked this trail a while back and all the streams were full. It was beautiful. By the time I get back to my car, I think I'll end up with about 10 miles for the day. This 1 mile connector trail seems to go on forever, but it is just 1 mile. I took a hike from the Welcome Center one day and hiked the Yost Ridge Trail, the Coral Ridge Loop, and the Holsclaw Hill Loop, and then back to the Welcome Center and ended up with around 14 miles. Still on the connector trail. I don't know how 1 mile can seem so long. And it's not even uphill, it's pretty level. Finally made it to the Holsclaw Hill Loop. It's a big loop. It's trail marker P9 and I can go in either direction. Starts here and ends up here. I'm going to go in this direction. The Button Mold View Loop is off of the Holsclaw Hill Loop. I've hiked that before. It's nothing special. The bad thing about hiking trails that don't get hiked much is the spider webs. I bet I knocked down 100 spider webs so far this morning. I'll say one thing for this trail. You're definitely away from it all. More of those mushrooms on the trail. A tree fell across this trail. They're not as fast to get them off this trail as they are some of the other trails. There's another tree that fell across the trail. But they're easy to get around. There's some neat looking mushrooms at the bottom of this tree. More trail mushrooms. Mushrooms like this are everywhere. Now this is a coral mushroom. It's drying up. Let's see some more back in this area. There's another one. And there's some more. With this mushroom. See some more coral mushroom. They're growing all over the place here. Some more over here. I don't see a lot of deer when I hike these trails, but there's their footprints. Last year I saw twin fawns bedded down at the side of the trail. There's some mushrooms at the bottom of that tree. I'm passing some private property. There's a fence around it. That's probably the reason why I don't see a lot of deer on this trail. They're probably heavily hunted in this area. More beautiful mushrooms on the trail. Can't believe there's so many mushrooms on this trail. Just keep going on. I'm at trail marker P10. This is the trail marker for the Button Mold View Loop. The Button Mold View Loop is 1.5 miles, and I don't think that includes the little short connector trail. I've hiked it before. There's nothing special on that trail. Pretty neat looking mushrooms at the bottom of this tree. Looks like they're starting to dry up. I'd like to have $1 for every spider web I've walked through. I'd be a rich man. Still on the Holsclaw Hill loop. The leaves are still on the trees, so I'm not seeing any views this morning. But I am seeing a lot of mushrooms. There are some puffball mushrooms on the side of this tree. If the leaves weren't on the trees, I'd have a pretty good view here. Another tree down on this trail. This one recently fell. The leaves are all still green. Because the deer in this area are hunted, you don't see them very often. When they hear people coming, they take off. And I'm not trying to be quiet. I'm just trying to finish this hike. This is a very quiet and peaceful area, except for the occasional plane that flies over. This is how I keep hitting those spider webs. You don't see them until you walk through them. Found another down tree. They need to get up here with the chainsaws. Look at these spider webs. This old man's getting tired. I probably shouldn't have hiked the Mitchell Hill Lake Trail before I hiked this one. I didn't think of hiking this trail until I got on the Mitchell Hill Lake Trail. I definitely can't complain about the weather. Last time I hiked this trail, all this down here was full of water. Look at this big spider web across the trail. Got me a big stick. I'll knock it down. Like I said earlier, when there was a lot of water running through there, that was beautiful. It's all dried up now. Look at all those leaves falling. There's not much water down there. Pretty dry. There's a little water running through here. I just saw a frog swim back there. Wonder if I can see. Go zoom in. I don't see him. Last time I hiked this, it was following heavy rains, and it was like a river running through here. Found some jack-o'-lantern mushrooms here at Jefferson Memorial. Made it back to trail marker P9. This is where I started, and this is where I finished. I'm going to get back on the connector trail, head back to my car, and then go home. Shouldn't be any spider webs on this connector trail. I've already knocked them down. Just past these girls on horseback. I'm still on this 1 mile connector trail that just seems to go on forever. I'm headed back to the Coral Ridge Loop. This is a slimy looking mushroom on this log. Two more horses just passed me. Definitely beautiful weather to go horseback riding. With those horses on this trail, you need to watch where you were stepping. They do a pretty good job of keeping up with the trees that fall over the trails. There's some more they cut away. Finally made it back to trail marker P5. If I wanted to finish the Coral Ridge Loop, I'd go that way, but I'm not. I'm going to take the fastest route back to my car. I'm on the Coral Ridge Loop, but this is the way I came. I've hiked the entire Coral Ridge Loop many times. That's 2.5 miles. I just wanted to hike the Holsclaw Hill Loop today. That looks like some jack-o'-lantern mushrooms down there. I'm back at trail marker P2. This is where the Coral Ridge Loop finishes up. This leads to the parking lot at the Yost recreational area. I'm ready to go home. I'm back at trail marker P1. I'm crossing the bridge to the Yost recreational area and where I'm parked. There's the parking lot, and there's the horse trailers where the horses came from. Earlier, I guessed that by the time I finished my hike, I'd have about 10 miles. I'm going to check and see how many miles I did hike. I hiked 9.82 miles, and that took 21,089 steps.